Ended.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Sarah, can I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner Reading?
Here.
Commissioner Walsh?
Here.
Commissioner Michael?
Here.
Mayor Lyons?
Yeah, here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. This is our community of the whole. This is our second one. First thing we're doing is we're going to approval of minutes. So I have a motion to approve minutes from the last meeting on August 12, 2025, our last meeting of the community of the whole.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Michael?
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon?
Yes.
Commissioner Reading?
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh?
Yes.
Mayor Lyons?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so we have 8 different discussions we have on our agenda that we're going to talk about our community of the whole. And our first discussion is going to be, I'm going to introduce you to Phil McKenna. He's going to be our new TIP consultant. So we're going to let him come up today and talk about his credentials.
Mayor, just real quickly here, so as in your board packet, we have a contract with Ryan Companies, who is a renowned TIF consultant, who are renowned TIF consultants for Illinois. They specialize in TIF consulting for municipal and for county governments. Phil, who we just introduced, has been doing this for about 110 years, so he knows exactly what he's doing. He even helped write some of the TIF law, some of the TIF amendments for the state of Illinois. He has his own company. They merged with Ryan. Brett Michelson is here from Ryan Companies, and so Phil's here to give a little intro about his company. And also, as in your board packet, Phil charges by the hour. They do not do an annual fee, as Jacob Klein did. We spent roughly $26,000 with Jacob Klein for an annual fee, and then we also pay them by the hour for doing TIF consulting work as the attorney. So Phil doesn't do that, only charges by the hour, so we will realize cost savings. Phil?
Thanks, Steve. It's not 110 years, it's just 100. I'm Phil McKenna. Brett Michelson is with me. I've been dealing with TIF districts since 1984. Probably about 500 total TIF districts. Under a former firm of K. McKenna and Associates, we spent over 40 years dealing with the economic development incentives, the principal one of which was TIF. When Ryan bought out K. McKenna and Associates, they named me as an independent consultant to carry on that work. And they also wanted to get into an Illinois market to market their incentive programs as well. And Brett came along with that. So we've been doing this for a long time. I call soup to nuts. If anybody is thinking about setting up a TIF district, we're there to help them take that process through, think what boundaries might be, think what a budget might be, think the whole thing through. If the decision is made to go ahead with the TIF district, we will help them with the budgeting for it, with the eligibility, whether or not that qualifies, what the timing should be. Again, the entire process in association with the TIF district. We will also provide services throughout the life of the TIF district. There's an annual audit that's required. There's a joint review board that's required. Joint review board consists of, as you probably know, all of the other taxing districts that have a stake in the TIF district. We're there to help. We're not there to intervene. Our practice is such that we charge by the hour. As you need us, we will be there for it. If you don't need us, then we're not there for it. Our hourly rates are listed in the contracts that are in front of you tonight in the committee of the whole. We have 2 contracts, one for a possible TIF district that we've discussed with Steve, another one for general services agreement, which is just a, if you need us, pick up the phone, call us. We'll answer the question the best we can. We'll come out and visit with you when we need to be. We'll do doing, anything that needs to accomplish, get your economic development incentives in place. We've served a number of, area, TIFs, Romeoville, Shannon, Manuka, Joliet, Crest Hill, Creek, Mooney, so we're very familiar with the area as well. I think that's all that I wanted to put out, in addition to what Steve said. Anything that you want to add?
Nope, just, if there are any questions about our services for the contracts.
Right. Okay.
Real quick, just because there's two different arrangements, both are billed the same, it looks like, hourly.
Correct, one is, they're both hourly billing, but, the TIF district does have a cost estimate of what total services would be, an estimate of what we think that would be given the size of the area.
That's not good. Okay.
We don't want you to have total surprises.
Right.
Appreciate it.
Anyone else have any questions?
If I can just say, I've had great experience with this firm. We did 11 TIF districts in my past life. They're some of the most successful TIFs in the state of Illinois. They did the first TIF we call Marquette TIF. One of the first TIFs that was the most successful TIF in Illinois. There's been studies on that. They know the laws, they know the procedures, and we've had great success with them.
Our law firm is very familiar with them too.
Okay.
There's someone that does a lot of TIF work, and I know that Phil and Dave have done quite a bit of work through that.
And then you. Now, you didn't charge us for tonight though, right? Just making sure.
No.
I'd say, get out of here now. All right. All right, next on the agenda, to amend certificate of occupation requirement, and that's on Brian.
Yeah, so we've had a couple issues with developers and builders in town, either getting occupancy or taking occupancy before everything was done the way that the city wanted it. So we've amended and updated the certificate, or we're proposing to amend and update the certificates of occupancy ordinance. This will require certain things, including passing inspections after all work is complete. All fees have been paid. It provides remedies if occupancy is taken before the certificate is issued. It requires for new construction that certificate of occupancy will not be issued until all improvements are complete, including sidewalks and landscaping, except that between November 1st and March 30th, when it is not feasible to pour concrete or complete landscaping, and a temporary certificate can be issued. An escrow deposit would be required to get that temporary certificate. The escrow deposit would be intended to cover the cost of improvements in the event that the developer didn't finish them himself. Once the improvements are complete, then the deposit would be returned and certificate of occupancy would be issued. It also includes a requirement for landscaping that it be graded and maintained with a straw blanket and seed, whereas before, I do not believe that it was specified what type of landscaping needed to be complete before that certificate was issued. So this is attempting to remedy recent issues that the city has experienced.
So I can expand a little bit. So we've experienced a lot of new homeowners moving into a house without any seed or sod or anything on their front lawns. And so that causes problems, obviously. So what I'm familiar with is typically is that we require at least seed is considered landscaping. We don't require bushes around the house. That's obviously that's up to the homeowner. But minimally we require seed, a seed blanket, for that to be accomplished prior to them moving in. If they want to upgrade the sod, it's between the builder and the buyer. But minimally, they need to provide that seed to keep erosion and just make it look halfway decent during the summer months. And obviously during the winter, we can do that in the spring. There's a deposit or an escrow, as Brian explained, that will be held to make sure that they complete that task. And this is typical of most municipalities with their new construction ordinances. And it's actually not for houses, this is also for, if it's a commercial development, industrial, doesn't matter what it is, minimally they have to put down a seed blanket
commercial and industrial. Okay.
Now, landscaping is defined as just seed. You know, but it can be, if there's a commercial development that has 27 trees that they show on their landscaping plan, we can also apply that to that for the winter months.
Is there any way that we could say where it says new construction, that we could actually put in there industrial and commercial, just so it's plain? There's no room for gray area.
New construction of any kind.
That would cover all three, correct?
It covers all three as is, we can make it
Yeah.
specific or generally like.
Yeah, I just think it needs to be fairly specific, so there isn't any gray area.
All right, any other comments?
And these ordinances that we talked about, the contract, the ordinances will be before you at the next board meeting. So it's an opportunity to learn about what we're proposing and to answer questions and make changes. And then we'll make the changes and present this at the council meeting in 2 weeks.
All right. Anything on that? Anyone talk about any questions or anything for Steve? Brian? Okay, number 3, we have the professional fee agreement, and this is for Steve and Brian to talk about.
So I'm gonna turn this over to Brian, because he worked on this initially. The only change that I'm recommending, there's some changes, but the biggest change that I'm recommending is that we tier the agreement. So right now it says $20,000. Again, to be a little more specific, if you have a small project, you know, we're only gonna use $4,000 or $5,000 worth of engineering fees or lawyer fees, we're still charging the $20,000. This tiers it based on acreage. And a lot of communities do this. So we have 0 to 1 acre, there's a certain fee, and 2 to 5 acres, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, yada, 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 on and on. So we don't require as much upfront based on the size of your project. However, though, if the project is smaller, but it does require more than just $5,000 worth of fees, they are still responsible for those additional fees. It's just the dollars that we're asking for up front is tiered. If you have a small 1 acre project, but we incurred $12,000 worth of fees, we will charge them the additional 7, the 5 initial, and then the 7 that we incurred over the 5. So this does not give them a mulligan from a standpoint of they don't have to pay. If it's over 5, they still do, but the initial outlay of dollars is based on their acreage. And Brian can talk about some of the legal things that have changed in the agreement.
Yep, so, this is trying to modify it, to reflect how the city has been, operating in its normal practice. The agreement stated one way, but the general practice of the city was not that way, so we're making this meet that. So, whenever there's a new developer or any type of work where it's gonna require, mainly legal and engineering review, we require a professional fee agreement, so that the developer reimburses the city for any work that legal or engineer or any other consultant does on the project, so that the taxpayers aren't burdened with the cost that's gonna benefit a single developer. So they enter into this agreement. What it states is that, prior to the start of any work, the developer will post a certain amount, as Steve just discussed, with the city. That cost is intended to reimburse the city for its consultant fees. Whatever the amount is, we'll say hypothetically $20,000. When Sean and I bill the city for that particular project, the city draws down from those funds to reimburse itself, more or less, and pay us. If the city goes through all the professional fees that were deposited, they provide notice to the developer, and the developer is required to replenish the full security amount within 15 days, and if they don't, then we can stop work on the project. It includes some notice requirements that instead of the city being required to provide monthly statements to these developers, which would be difficult with the small workforce that we have in the office. What we're indicating in here is that they can get, they can request an accounting of the fees that were deducted from the security amount, but they can't do so any more frequently than quarterly, so at least 4 times a year, but when they request it is when we would provide that to them. That's the bulk of it, just trying to get it up to date with how we would prefer it to look.
Yeah, thank you.
So that'll be spelled out if we vote on it, the tiers, I mean, cause right now there's not much information.
Yeah, there is on the back.
In the back.
Oh, okay. Right page.
What is the tiers go, like you say, anything additional will be put on?
Would be billed, right, this is, right now, as I said, we require $20,000 up front. Even if your project may only hypothetically do 10, you know, with reimbursements, we still require the 20, and as we deduct it, now we have to reimburse them the 10, the developer. This lowers the upfront based on the tiers, but if it exceeds that, they're still responsible for that.
This is just their starting point, you can add on to it from there,
Absolutely correct.
to save the city some money.
A lot.
Okay. Thank you.
And I do have to say that there's a lot of projects that have not paid the fees over, you know, the professional fee increment is relatively new, correct, Brian?
No.
5 years?
Oh, no, I mean, since we've been in here, we've been requesting them. I can't say that I'm auditing the city when.
Right.
You know, I'll get the agreement to them, when they're enforcing that, I don't know. But we've definitely it's been a thing for at least 2019 or.
Okay, all right, so several years it's been in effect. One of the things that we haven't done a good job of in the past is collecting the fees over and above the 20,000. There are a lot of projects that have incurred fees in the $70,000, $80,000 range, because the project's taken several years, and they have not been required to pay that back. And so Liz is in the process of putting those dollar amounts together, and we're in the process of then turning around and billing these developers of all the fees that we incurred over and above their $20,000.
Do you think you're gonna have a lot of pushback from the?
Oh, I'm sure we are.
Okay. I would think so.
Yeah, I'm sure we are. I don't know why they weren't collected, but they weren't. So we have to be the bad guy and try to collect them.
Sure. Okay. Are there any present need now that will be included in this new tier system?
No, everybody that we've had so far have paid the 20 grand in the last 4 months. We've had to pay the 20 grand. There's probably 1 or 2 that we're working with right now that would probably fall within the new tiers.
Okay.
And there's projects smaller than 20 grand. But what we're saying now is a developer, we give you the free introduction meeting, it's free. We have our developer review that Dale attended this past Monday, was it? Yeah, past Monday, Tuesday? Whatever it was. Yesterday. So that's free. So you're a developer, you come in, you tell us your project, you tell us what you want, what you're looking for. We have all of our staff here, we have the planner here, and then we give feedback. Dale experienced that feedback. That's free. Now, we won't take it to step 2 unless you pay the fee agreement, pay the 20,000 or whatever fee is applicable to your development. So it stops until you pay the fee agreement, or sign the fee agreement and pay the fee.
Of the projects that were started prior, there was one that was charged less than 20,000,
Gotcha.
but they're past that now.
And historically, it wasn't just, we charge everyone 20 grand.
Right.
You know, that may have been, you know, the most recent that included 20 grand, but it was, okay, here's the project, what do we think it's gonna cost the city to get through, and we would suggest that amount.
So you had nothing in writing, there was nothing
There was no
approved.
policy, it was more or less, hey, let's try to be
This
fair.
gives us some guidance.
But now this has actual guidelines that can make it consistent across similar projects.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right, let's move on to number 4. Now, I don't know if you want to give the background, or if Liz, if you want to go right into the purchasing policy, but that's something our next topic to talk about. And this is something that me and you talked about, or Liz, right, when we first took office. you came to me and said, what is your purchasing policy? And we kind of figured out it was kind of organized chaos, I think is what you come to conclusion. So we came together and he gave Liz a task to let's come up with a purchasing policy so we can streamline it and it's gonna be consistent. So if Liz, if you want to explain what you come up with the purchasing policy.
So, purpose of this was to establish procedures and standards to be followed by all departments, commissioners in the purchase of supplies, materials, parts, equipment, and contractual and professional services, and to promote public confidence in the integrity of the process. Ensure fair and equitable treatment of all people who participate in the purchasing system, and maximize the economy in purchasing activities. We also need to have these policies and procedures in place to implement the new purchasing policy from Springbrook Software. So, we had no policy. I asked that to him, where's purchasing policy? We used to buy this, we used to buy that. Are there any POs? They have nothing, except for I need this and you bought it. So, this is going to be the groundwork for the new PO system that's gonna be on the Springbrook, which is it'll be all computerized. And these need to go in so that there are red flags when something is not correct. If somebody's trying to do something, or there's no money on that line item in the budget, or whatever.
In the event the guys are working at the plants or around town, they have to move now and they have to fix it immediately. How does that PO system work for the guys on the street with their boots on the ground?
They have, Whitmore's, where they do a lot of business, will have an open PO.
Okay,
They're called blanket purchase orders.
gotcha.
And like, let's use the Ace Hardware as an example, right? And so we'll have a $20,000 blanket open purchase order with Ace Hardware.
Okay.
So that's, and it's already signed off, usually typically like about a week or two after you approve the budget, we'll come forward with several blanket purchase orders for you to approve. Ace Hardware, Burkott, whatever the stores are. There'll be a dollar amount on what we anticipate to spend, potentially. They still have to do a PO for it, they still have to, but they don't need prior approval. They still have to go through
I
a
think that would be
process.
my only concern, is a lot of times things happen within the city, these guys gotta move on it, you can't wait for an answer, they know what to do. So I would like them to be able to fix the problem
And that's in there.
That's a good question.
That's in there. I mean, I sent this out to everybody prior because it's thick. It's a lot of
I've
work.
read it twice, I missed a bunch already.
There's an emergency,
Yeah.
I mean,
Procedure in there.
emergency
Yeah.
procedure put in there that you know, instead of getting a PO or whatever it is up front, they're providing like a written report of why it was emergency, which purchase, and then you get that.
Thanks.
And it also provides, Robinson or whoever, when we go out to bid, when we bid for a larger project, like we just did the street resurfacing project, right? There's certain criteria that we have in our purchasing policy on what we're gonna ask for when we go out to bid. And so Robinson or whoever does the bidding for us, or if we do the bids ourselves, there's a certain process in there that we outline on what we require for the bid process. Bid security bonds, those type of things, that's all outlined in here as well. And we've had several meetings with department heads, and so has Liz. And we said, hey, this is not meant to be cumbersome. It's not meant to be punitive. It's meant to be efficient and to show accountability on when we're buying things and why we're buying things, why. And it's not, and so they all bought into the idea, especially with the blanket PO, Warren, is the exact question that Rob and the public works guys asked was, hey, what if I need to buy a $5 part?
Yeah, right.
Right, we need prior approval, absolutely not. As long as you have that blanket purchase order with that vendor, you're good.
And there'll be, 3.1 coming out because right before, when I got here, Brian sent me an email with some corrections that he would like to see, so. And if there's any corrections or anything that you would like to see changed or have questions about, just let me know. And then we'll go through it, so there's 3.1.
I would encourage you to, because, the biggest part about something like this is it needs to be user friendly.
That's the
So-
term I I was gonna ask, is it user friendly? Can our guys handle it?
Oh,
Can
right.
cities,
And
yeah.
that's why I think like your review would dictate, and that, you know, all of your reviews would dictate. Because if you don't understand something, we gotta clarify it, or reorganize it or something, so that, you know, 20 years from now, the user that's sitting there, you know, can understand it.
And I think Liz was starting to mention that the Springbrook system that we have, or we're gonna purchase, makes it 10 times easier than what it is today. Everything's done electronically versus the old paper way. Approvals can happen like this versus, you know, and you certainly as a commissioner will have access to that, and you know, and so on and so forth. So it is very user friendly. It's a change, but it's very user friendly.
Did you explain it to the chief? I don't know, did you guys engage with the chief? Like at JCM, they'll do the same thing. You guys gotta go and be uniforms.
I can tell you that the chief asked me, first thing he says, you know, we don't have that system. I said, not yet. So we're getting there.
You're getting to the point.
Yes.
Oh, so you're familiar with it?
Oh, yeah. We had pretty clear purchasing policies where it came from. Yeah, including heroes.
The system we're proposing,
It's easier to work with.
yeah, it's very easy to work with, correct?
All right, any questions, any comments? All right, purchasing policy, we'll move on to, ordinance options for contractors. Steve, what do you got?
So obviously, this has been talked about the last couple of council meetings. And without getting into all of the gossip that's out there or whatever, I just want to refer you to the second page. It has what we are proposing as our definition of contractors. And I think that's the biggest gray area that we've had. What is the definition of a contractor? So we defined it. So contractors, when used in this chapter, means any person engaged in the business of a contracting business within the city of Brentwood, constructing, altering, or repairing buildings and or other structures, sidewalks, driveways, street pavement, deck, fences, doors, windows, gutters, siding, pools, spas, and or professional landscaping. And then you refer back to our current ordinance that talks about all the different contractors in addition to that. So it really defines our contractors, and it does not say that professional cleaning or cleaning services, that is not under this definition. So under this definition, a car detailer, a truck detailer, a Mary Maids service is not under our contractor's definition, hence they do not require a contractor's license. So we've clarified, and I'm sure there's going to be an exception somewhere in 5 years. Somebody's going to come up and say, "Oh crap, oh heck, we didn't have this," and we can address that. But we try to address it every potential contractor under the definition, and so it's very black and white, as black and white as it can be.
So it said cleaning contractors, it just didn't detail what a cleaning contractor was. So we're removing that from the existing ordinance.
And we're replacing what I just with what I just read on page 2.
Yeah, and then we're adding the word professional to landscaping. Landscaping contractors are in there, but if it's basic landscaping,
If they're cutting grass,
yeah, or if it's a professional hardscape, we're adding that. Now,
Correct.
yeah. What about, like lemonade stands, are they contractors?
They're retail.
we should get sales tax.
Yeah.
Or basic-
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, so that's gonna be a change in this ordinance. Anybody have any questions?
Was this, yeah, I do. When you come up with this list, is it a dollar amount, how large a company is? I mean, because the gentleman that was here a couple weeks ago, obviously small, not even a corporation or anything like that. Is that what we're
No,
delineating?
it's what the service is. So under this new definition, it's black and white. He does not need a license at all. He can just do the work. If you're a company, you can be small, you can be large, and you do windows, then you have to get a contractor's license, because windows is called out in this as a repair. So the definition is not based on the size of the company, it's based on the service you provide. So if you're coming here to get a building permit, and you wanna do windows, you have to be licensed. If you're doing the windows yourself, or you and your neighbor are doing the windows, no, you don't need to be licensed. It's a self-service.
About people that enter a home, I mean, I worked for 30 years entering homes, we had to be bonded and everything, and background check and everything.
Right, if
So,
you don't follow this definition, no. If you're entering the home as a Mary Maids cleaning service, if you're entering the home as a, probably Mary Maids, but if you're entering the home to alter, then I would say yes, because it says alter.
Right.
You're entering the home to do electric work, cable work, phone work, you're altering what's there, or repairing what's there, and that's what the definition says. I would say yes, under that example, yes, you would have to have a contractor's license. So it's based on the service, not, how big or small, correct.
thanks.
I think we covered it, by altering, repairing, constructing, it's pretty, I think it's pretty good definition. But in this case, a detail service would not be required to have a contractor's license under this definition.
Seems reasonable.
So if you have any other questions, we'll put this on as is for the council meeting in 2 weeks.
All right. Before we move on, anything else, real quick, any questions, comments, or anything? Yeah, it was that, again, that ordinance was written in 1996.
Glad it was addressed,
You know,
but,
and then, he was doing his job as an interpreter. So, where are we at? Springbrook purchase order. Josh.
Josh is our new designated IT guy. He got lucky and drew the short straw to present this. So,
boy, Josh.
So you guys kind of touched a little bit about this already, a lot of the high points, you're talking about the purchasing policy. So obviously the city had expressed an interest in implementing an online purchase order program to help streamline and modernize the city's purchasing process. Springbrook, which is the software company that the city already utilizes for other financial operations, offers that purchase order module as part of their suite of products. However, the specific module is currently not utilized by the city of Braidwood, nor is it part of the city's contract of current suite modules. We started doing some meetings with Springbrook, as well as several other department heads, financial staff, and leadership. And we found out that the implementation of the purchase order module will help provide, will adequately meet the needs the city to help streamline and modernize the city's purchasing order program. So you guys should have just a brief overview of that Springbrook provided. Kind of outlines a little bit about the purchasing order module. It's all based on internal controls that are going to be set by the purchasing policy. That's how this is really going to be built out. And they can build it out and tailor it to the city's operations. So you can add in those levels of approval as needed. Who gets to submit purchase orders, who gets to approve them based on the purchasing order policy and how that's going to flow. This is a very user-friendly platform. It can be used from the ground up, and they will help design it to what we want it to be. It's also going to make it easier in the back end for the finance departments, because right now a lot of things are entered in, by hand, entered in manually. So it takes a lot of time, a lot of manpower to do that kind of thing. This is going to help reduce that. It's going to help streamline it. The invoices and stuff like that will be put in automatically, so there's no more having to bring over paper copies and that kind of thing. So it's going to be something that's really going to benefit the city as far as the overall financial operations go. They did put in there just a little bit of just an overview of how purchase orders works, the electronic workflows. So when someone at the very bottom user level puts in a purchase order, it goes up to the next level if needed for the approval. Whoever it is that's built into that purchasing order policy at that level approves it. And then if it needs to go to the next one, then so be it. But it can, again, do those purchase orders for frequently used, vendors, that kind of thing, which is gonna be really attractive, especially for public works, streets, the ones that use them, frequently, so. It does allow you the opportunity to submit purchase orders and have the purchase order go directly to a vendor. So that way, when they go to put an order through or put a requisition through, they can send them the purchase order number, the dollar amounts, who approved it, that kind of thing. That way, vendors can have that on their end, because they like to see that, it's kind of like an extra little comfort blanket for them. So they can see that someone actually did approve it, and it keeps like a timeline or a paper trail of that. They said that the quote that they provided to the city for this includes the subscription. It is a yearly subscription, part of the Springbrook Suite. Right now, the city does currently pay a subscription for Springbrook for a financial portion of the software, but it does not include the purchase order module. So this will be an add-on to that. Part of this, it also provides the professional services for getting it built out and providing end-user training to anyone that's going to need to utilize this system. The annual product pricing total was $5,150. And then also the professional services fee for, again, the setup initial training was $8,550, for a total of $13,700. Now, they did say that with this $5,150, because of the fact that, Liz, what is it? Is it June or July that the annual Springbrook renewal came into?
I think it's July.
So, because we're paying this now, when it comes next July, time to renew, this will be part of it, but that amount will be prorated at that point in time. So obviously, we're paying for, more than a year right now, but when it comes time for that year of the renewal, that'll be factored into prorated for the next renewal.
So the 5150 is annual, and is it a one-time charge for the 8550 then?
Yeah, that's the implementation, the build out, the training, yeah.
And since it will be used by all three departments, it will be,
Split up
Split
between the
up.
three departments?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
That's all I know.
Any comments, questions about that? Anybody?
This will save a lot of time, create a lot of efficiency,
Production.
production. It's, Warren's probably very similar to the type of, system you have for your.
Everything's accounted for, there's 4 different systems, it's automatic.
Exactly.
I like the idea of it, and, my whole concern as we go forward is to be cost effective. And I think there's a way to track money better. And it's an old saying, but in my industry, sometimes you gotta spend money to make money. And, I understand the concept of this whole thing, to get organized, to be efficient.
All right. Dale, Bruce, anything on this? All right, Steve, grocery tax.
Yes. So obviously, this is a topic, for the last couple of, board meetings. I think we talked about this at the committee of the whole. And I'll let Mayor talk about the dedicated dollars, but, let's go to the last sheet in your packet. It talks about the total grocery tax revenue for the past 3 fiscal years. So it talks about FY '23, which is $253,000, FY '24, which is $233,000, FY '25, which is $176,000, and projected for FY '26 is roughly a 70% reduction because of Jewel taking up a lot of the grocery tax in Diamond. So we did talk to several, the mayor and I talked to several mayors and administrators from Coal City, from Wilmington, from other municipalities, try to get kind of what they are doing. Coal City told me that, Matt told me from Coal City that they're experiencing about a 40% reduction in their Burcott's tax. grocery tax, and I expect the same here, if not a little bit more. So I was very conservative when I said a 70% reduction. So we're projecting $60,000 for the budget year that we're currently in. And also I noted that this does not include, that $60,000 does not include potential new grocery tax revenue from the 2 truck stops that we're working with right now. Macedon, actually moving some equipment there, should be under, keep on saying this, it'll start in September, but I'm hoping it'll start in September. And I did talk to Mr. Smith. He had given me some grocery tax estimates. I thought he was a little bit low, but we're estimating between 7 and 10 grand from each of the, and Mr. Smith was with Macedon. So we're expecting 7 to 10 grand from those 2 truck stops, truck refueling stations for future revenue. Again, that might be a little bit high, but again, they're just, estimates. So that's where we're at. The mayor had a great idea, and so Mayor, if you want to kind of explain, if this tax was passed, where those dollars would be allocated.
So what I did is I kind of put together a press release. I was gonna kind of put it out there, but I wanted to address it with the council first. So I'll kind of read what I kind of put together so you guys are familiar with what I'm thinking. So the city of Braywood is currently reviewing whether to continue the 1% grocery tax that is already in place. As the mayor, I would recommend that we not only continue the grocery tax by ordinance, but we also establish an intergovernmental agreement with the Braywood Park District to ensure that every dollar collected through this tax is dedicated specifically for capital improvements with our parks. So Josh and I, we've had a couple meetings on this, and he was going to share it with his board. So, and then again, this is not an additional tax. This is a tax that has been in place. So we have to decide, we have to make a decision what's best for our community on this grocery tax. So these funds will be earmarked for projects such as updating playground equipment and constructing an all-inclusive park that will serve children and families of all levels. With the Park District's current operation budget of, like we said, $168,000, correct? The additional revenue generated through this grocery tax will provide much needed resources for significant improvements that otherwise would not be possible in doing. Investing in our parks, it strengthens our community by providing safe and modern and inclusive spaces for families to gather, to play, and enjoy. I believe this will also help improve our sales. And Dale, this is something that you brought up, you were concerned, that if we don't, it will help our business. But I believe that the sales it'll help improve sales in our city, as families are more likely to shop local. Now you live in Braywood, and if you buy groceries, you're more likely, you know what, my money is gonna stay here, and it's gonna go to our park district. I was kind of going through the CMAP today. The previous council did a great job. Hey, you guys did a comprehensive plan with CMAP. When you look through it, half of it is improving parks and sidewalks and parks and parks and parks. So how can we do that with a revenue of $168,000? So with this being said, how can we keep the money here in Braywood? So now if someone's likely to go shopping, you know what, I'm not gonna go to Joel, I'm gonna stay in Braywood. So now it's gonna keep tax dollars here in Braywood. So as families are more likely to shop locally when they see that their tax dollars directly supporting and enhance our parks and recreation opportunities. Quality parks and recreation are more than just amenities, but they are important parts of our city economic development strategy. Attractive, well-maintained parks improve quality of life, they bring families together, and they'll make Braywood a more desirable place to live, work, and visit. As we invest in our parks, we're also investing in our future growth and our local businesses. I just look forward to working with the city council and the park district to ensure that these funds are used wisely in the ways that will bring lasting value to our community. I just think it's a win-win. I think it helps our parks. And we've talked at length, and we've tried to come up with some ways to try to help our park district, because it's a different taxing body we're handcuffed. So I called Brian when I come up with this idea, and I said, hey, by law, we get into an intergovernmental agreement, and that we can do this. I talked to Josh, because I wanted to make sure that this doesn't go to grass cutting. It doesn't go. It goes to playground equipment. At the park districts. This is park districts. Park districts, yes.
And that would be spelled out in this proposed interdevelopment agreement. and any dollars transferred, like with our term, to the park district will be solely used for capital improvement projects, development of parks, yada, yada, yada. So we're gonna be-
And I like this concept, but with all the other additions and increases and everything else we got going on, that 1%, could we pull that money from another area to help the park district and give our citizens a break on that 1%?
I don't know what increases, what increases are you talking about?
For all the,
What about two tax?
yeah, everything else that we went over tonight, the increases and revenue from, the tier.
Oh, you're talking about the, those are all getting, those are all pass-through costs, so all those
Okay.
costs paid for the engineering and for the attorneys.
Okay.
So that money can't be used from there because they pay Ryan.
Do you think we could come up with 1% somewhere else and not increase that 1% on our citizens? Is there any other?
They're already paying.
I know they're already paying it, I'm asking, is there a solution that we can resolve it so they don't have to? Let's save the citizens some money.
And I agree with that. Our budget went up, our city budget went up $500,000. So we've increased spending in 1 year, $500,000, your budget went up from last year. You know that, right? Where does that money come from? When you increase budgets, when employees want raises, and their services, things cost money. This is not an additional tax. This is a 1% tax that's already in place.
1% doesn't make or break a company. It would be something we could do for our residents that no other town has done, to stand out on its own. And I think we could find 1% in other avenues. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, but you're still gonna go to Jewel and shop, they're gonna pay 1%.
Maybe if we get 1% discount, they might see it out. It's just a thought, it's my opinion. I'd like to,
That's fine.
I'd like to see our citizens get a break for a chance and take the revenue from some other companies coming in, and some other options, find some other options rather than just 1% on the citizens a break.
And I agree with you, but you had the ability, before we took office, to not implement the 4% on the water. Why didn't you give them a break there? You had that option for this, you've been in turn for 2 years, you had an option to give the citizens a break, and you chose not to.
Because we were putting that money towards infrastructures and the miles of pipe that are underground, eroded, ready to explode. Fire hydrants can't be crushed because the pipes underground are so fragile. That 4% for the water department was designated for infrastructure improvements that are decades overdue.
Did you guys do any improvements in the last 2 years?
We have put that list together.
Did you do any improvements in the last 2 years?
The streets and I
No water,
think we did
infrastructure.
infrastructure, we did the chlorinator, we had the bids for the compressors ready to go, they're still not ordered. Geez, if we have a failure in power, we may or may not have power for our plant.
Did you order them or no?
They did not get ordered.
Did you order
Why,
them?
if you order, the money's there.
I did not, and with the new administration.
No, did you order them? Because that would be your responsibility. And by ordinance, you're the superintendent of
Correct.
that, so that your
But
the
because
responsibility is
the
on you.
Administration, they are hiring fire.
No, don't bring that, it's nothing to do with this.
Nothing to do with it.
But
Nice try.
How do I tiptoe around, can I order them or can I?
Did you ever call and ask? Just check.
I had asked many times about generators and the infrastructure
You did?
improvements, and the longest conversation we had was yesterday since you've been in office. And they need to be ordered
We have. And have you ever given me a call?
many times to talk about things. I called you when I was in Canada, when I was on vacation to talk about things. I've called you several times.
No,
I don't
you
think-
didn't. I called you.
I get a call, hey, you got it, twice since you've been in office.
Okay, no, that's not true. I called you.
Twice.
And then I've not seen you City Hall one time. And you're 2 years. How many times have you been out to the water plant? That you're superintendent? I've heard it 5 times. Have you been out, that's the employee's told me.
Yes, Dale, how many times are you out there? I'm out there 2 or 3 times a week. We used to have some communication between this administration where the guys that were volunteering their positions on the commissioner form of government, being a commissioner, had some help and some communication from the city. I don't feel like I have that since this administration. I'm working on it. I'm trying to resolve that. You know?
And what are you doing to resolve that? Just so I understand.
I'm talking out loud.
Because I'm here every day and I've never seen you.
And I have.
And there's times you said you called me and I didn't have it on my phone, you didn't call me. I can tell when you called me it was before the election. That's when you called me.
After election time, I'm talking. I'm putting all that behind me. I'm
Oh,
looking
no.
forward.
Oh, you are putting something, but you just brought something up.
Because it's a valid point.
not the point we're talking about though.
Hey, I just thought we could give our citizens a break, that's where the conversation started.
Yeah, and I just thought that the park needs some help, and we've already increased our revenue over about $500,000. And I'm trying to find a way to where we can help our
Revenue, or
Revenue, but the problem is too,
could we
with this
take
whole
this
revenue
money for the new
is,
city park and allocate that to the park district? We got 4 parks.
Well, it's a
Doesn't
grant
get
right
used
now.
too much.
Well, they're not used at all?
They're not used too much.
you want that? I live right next door to one.
And it's.
Let me interject something, just to kind of change the subject a little bit. And it's totally up to, obviously, the council, what they want to do with the grocery tax or take money from different funds, but I have 2 thoughts. The first thought is, there were surveys done for economic development, and I've spoken at major conferences about economic development. And there's 3 things that people move into a town for. One is they look at the school district. What type of schools are my kids going to have? What type of education is my kids going to get? As the #1 survey, Braywood's got a great school, right? Great school district, great teachers, great administrator. 2, they look at what park and recreation activities does my kid have an opportunity? What type of ball fields? What type of pickleball courts? For me as an active adult, what type of recreation does it have? Walking paths. That's second on a survey. Third is what am I paying taxes? So third is what I pay in taxes, and that's a National Economic Development Survey. So when you want to promote economic development, when you want to promote new construction of houses in your town, the 3 things developers look at: schools, parks and recreation, and what am I paying in taxes? Right. And no offense to Josh, because he's got a limited budget, you knock 2 out of 3 out of the park. Your tax rates are excellent. Your school is excellent. We need to work on the 3rd if you want to promote economic development. Second point is, if you want to take the 60 projected 70, well, what did I say, $60,000, $60,000 now and potentially 15 to 20 grand in the future. If you want to take this out of the budget, yes, you can, but it's going to take a hit somewhere else because we don't have 60 grand. Insurance goes up every year, right? I think it was 11% increase for health insurance for our employees. Salaries go up 3% a year based on union contracts, but yet our revenues stay the same. So you know, as a businessman, and you know, as your own home budget, you can't spend more than you bring in. We have guaranteed
Well
contracts.
said, that last statement, well said. You can't spend more than you bring in.
Correct, you're absolutely right. And fortunately, right now, this town is doing extremely well. We're projecting a $3.5 to $4 million fund balance. Right now it's 3. We're projecting almost a $500 to $1 million fund balance. So we are taking in more, right? We're spending a hell of a lot less. We haven't purchased anything that's been in this budget. We're working on infrastructure. We can't do infrastructure until we find out what's our priority. There's never been a priority list. We're working on a priority. You just can't throw money at something that says, well, we need to do this. Like the pipes that you talked about with the hydrants. Absolutely. That should be #1, #2 on our priority. But we don't have it. No one's ever directed us to go do something like that. So we have to now do these things, build this list, and allocate dollars for this list. And if I'm here next year's budget, I would recommend that you take a lot of that fund balance and you allocate it towards infrastructure. Because that's what fund balance is for. It's for things that you can't do on an annual basis. So if you have $3.5 to $4 million in your fund balance, you need to put that into pipes, hydrants, water and sewer, treatment plant. We need water. All of these things that have been neglected over the past 10 years. Now we have to do this, or you have to do this.
It's longer than that, Steve. It's
20 years, whatever. So now we have the burden of doing that. The burden is on us, or it's on you. So over the past 3 or 4 months, we have tried to get a handle on what is there and what is not. And that's what we're doing. That's why we're not spending anything. We're not buying squad cars, we're not buying pickup trucks, we're not buying anything right now because we have to get a handle on what is accurate and what is not.
oops, sorry, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And if you look at the budget that we are working on, we are $446,000 in the hole before we start. It is still to spend $446,000 more than we have in revenue.
But yet,
I'd like to go over CPA.
but yet, we're projecting fund balance, correct, Liz?
Yeah, and right now it's 99.7 total all.
Total, but the general fund is the key fund.
Yeah, and I
You're
don't-
projecting 3.5 to 4 million, I think, in your last, in your report.
No, the other money's out of the water accounts, cause that can be used for improvement.
Well, absolutely, absolutely.
We'll have almost $10 million, I think, in 2 months.
Well, the water account's got 6 million, I think, Liz, 4 or 5 million in the water account.
Oh, that was last week.
I'll get you those numbers.
Yeah.
I know Liz has them,
I
we'll
don't
talk
want to
about it.
scroll off the top of my head, but the 4 accounts I'm familiar with where we're at.
Yeah, so we're doing really well.
Yeah.
Financially, we're doing really well.
Very good.
So we have the dollars to spend on infrastructure, sidewalks. This town has absent of sidewalks. We're applying for a sidewalk grant. Do you know that a half-mile stretch of sidewalk costs $250,000?
Oh, yeah, I just listened to the Morris readout of the Oswald grants, I follow all the others.
Yeah, so construction prices are ridiculous, right? We use prevailing wage, prevailing wage, it's expensive, right? And so this town needs 20 miles of sidewalks, right? And so we gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And we need to allocate X amount of dollars each year to try to catch up.
Oh, understandable, we got what's put together before the transition. Now you guys are making a new list and making a new plan forward, and that's what I'd like to be involved with.
Is there a
We never said that, we never
list?
saw that list.
It was ever
I
given
just
to
asked
us?
Sean.
That list was, circulated around, right, when everybody come in office, I'll pull it up and send it to
Yeah,
them.
we just have, if you have it, please
Who
give us
did
one.
the list?
We have not seen it.
Dale, Tony, Karen, Ron, all the former administration had a list of going forward.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll find it. Yeah, thank you.
It was shared early on.
Was their engineer, was he involved in this list at all, or your company?
No, it was a typed out list of priorities and the start of what you guys are.
Correct,
doing right now.
which would then be dug into.
Right.
You have to understand, we're in midterm. We had things going on with previous people, but they were fired. So it made Warren's job harder, it made my job harder, it's making your job harder, it's making Steve's job harder. So
Nobody's benefiting
we're
from it.
adapting to this, so I
Nobody's
just wanna let
benefiting.
you know. We were kinda spoiled before, I'll admit it. You know, we had a person that did a lot.
And communicated every day. I mean, if not every day, every other day. I don't get that communication anymore. I really have to work hard. Not only do I work harder now, but when you're running a company and a business, you guys, anybody that has their company or business that works 8 to 5 or 50 hours overtime, try taking on another job for 15, 20 hours. And I'm that guy that loves to work, and I also maintain 180 acres out west of Lawrence. I love to work. But all of a sudden, my work hours went from 15, 20 a week and phone calls and visits to the plant to every night going through all these emails and these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different things that I agree that needs to be addressed. But it's that much more work with less help. That's what I think.
All right, let's move on to number 8.
Well, I just had a quick question, will $60,000 break the city? Liz?
I don't know if it's gonna break it, I don't know where it's gonna come from.
Well, we put
Why
up a
don't
goal
we
for
raise
it.
it to 2% then? Then we'll have 120,000, you know what I
That's
mean?
not what I
You
said.
can't.
No.
What I said is I
I'm not
don't,
saying-
no,
This
let
is
me
what I'm
finish.
saying. Why did the people of Illinois have to get constantly taxed? People are leaving Illinois because they're so taxed. Now we get a little break from Springfield. It's not much, but I really think the governor did it just so he could put a feather in his cap that he lowered taxes. Now the onus is on every city, and they're all passing it. I've been checking, I don't know anybody that voted against it. But I'm being selfish here, I'd rather pay 1% less for groceries. That's just me, I'm a taxpayer, I live in the town. And I haven't talked to other
The
people
surrounding
around town, I
community
went
was
to
heard that we
Burkett,
didn't have it. You know, there's people that would come back to town and buy groceries, we're gonna say 1%.
Maybe they will for the parks, if the 1% goes to the parks too.
Then let's take this, all this money we're gonna spend on this.
All right, let's move on to number 8. Switch
Oh,
from
hold on,
Verizon-
this will be before, we have to put it before the council for an up or down vote.
Okay.
So it will be on the council for an up or down vote with the stipulation that it'll be used for parks.
Do we put a time frame on that? What are your thoughts?
So just for, I would say for the sake of voting, my suggestion would be just
You good?
take a vote on the tax. You know, with the intention to enter into the intergovernmental agreement with the park, what I would suggest is adopting probably an ordinance so that it's more or less a reminder to the city that
Yeah.
when we collect this tax, it goes to the Park District for parks, but it would be subject to that agreement. So, you know,
Is it possible, Brian, to have that at the same meeting to knock out a simple intergovernmental agreement with a simple ordinance?
it's possible to get it together within the.
My thing is this, so I don't wanna.
It's gonna take a couple months.
I would guess
Because,
that's-
yeah, you're gonna have to go back and forth with the park district attorney to work it out, and we only have
Okay.
one meeting.
Well, the only thing,
Yeah, no, good point.
my thought of this is anyway, when they prepared their budget last year, they probably prepared their budget with the intent that they were gonna have grocery tax. So this shouldn't even have taken effect until next May anyway. Because last year's budget, I'm sure that it's proposed that they were going to have that as a
I
time.
believe I think they had $250,000.
What it was, yeah.
I think in the
So
budget.
then it's built into the budget.
It's built in the
that we're
budget, I think
gonna
at $250,000, yes.
So my suggestion would be just take a vote on the tax, and then we will have between, if the vote passes, you know, until the grocery tax would actually take an effect in the city, to come to an agreement with the park.
Okay, thank
And
you.
it would be, I think it would be simple to come to an agreement, because it's gonna say, we are paying for this.
Okay.
So, I can't imagine that they'll be too argumentative, but, you know, wording is always an issue.
And so just one more point, and I think the mayor brought up a good point too, that the budget is roughly $250,000 in grocery tax. We're only gonna get about 70 grand of that, 80 grand of it this year, so we're already taking a huge hit already from our grocery tax because of Jewel. So we're not gonna get anywhere near the $250,000. If we get 100,000, we'll be happy. So we're already taking a $150,000 hit already. And if you wanna take $60,000 out again and give it to the park, now you're talking about a $200-some-thousand hit total. So just keep that in the back of your mind when you think about this. We're already taking a big hit already.
All right, thank you. Going to number 8, switch from Verizon Cellular to T-Mobile, is the job session report.
Alright, so you have several items in that packet. So obviously, as part of our technology upgrades for the city, we looked at the possibility of switching from our current provider, which is Verizon Wireless, to the new provider of T-Mobile. And after doing technical reviews and conferring with our IT consultant, we concluded that this current Verizon Wireless service that we utilize for the city of Raywood is very insufficient for our operational needs. It's our recommendation that the city of Raywood discontinue service with Verizon Wireless and transition to T-Mobile for all cellular service needs. This is not only going to enhance our cellular coverage needs, but it will improve our overall operational functionality. And it's going to benefit the city financially as well. Currently with Verizon, I'm sure anyone that has Verizon knows service is very difficult around here. The police department has the biggest part of this, of the basically the cellular bill, obviously with having the in-car routers, which are internet service to operate everything in them. They each all run off the cellular device, as well as cellular phones that are needed, that kind of thing. And also, there are a few devices that belong to Public Works, you know, that kind of thing. Right now, trying to, you know, for example, for an officer to try to print out a citation, it's all web-based, it's all internet-based. That little hamster wheel keeps spinning and spinning and spinning, and when we request for time, we know that it's something that's gotta be addressed. So, we've researched this quite heavily. T-Mobile has excellent signal. We actually have a T-Mobile tower right on the back of the water tower, right in the center of town, and there's 2 other towers within our jurisdiction as well. So that's going to be a huge benefit when it comes to coverage. So on exhibit number 1 that you guys have, this is our current breakdown of what the city currently has with Verizon. lot of the devices are 4G, and we know there's been a big significant increase in development for 5G services. But currently with Verizon, even 5G now in this area isn't very good. With T-Mobile, they offer what's called T-Priority, and it's also a standalone 5G service. Because of this, that is only accessible to public safety entities. When you look at like Verizon's 4G, 5G network currently, it's one big network, but everybody has access to it, so it's very crowded, very overwhelmed, consumes that kind of thing. With a standalone 5G service, now all the rest of the public is not on that. That is strictly for the public safety sector, which makes sure that things are reliable, speeds are there, and priority also comes into play in the event of, say, a natural disaster. We know that things start to really get crowded, towers go down, things crash, all that kind of stuff. Whenever there's a disaster, people are trying to get on them. Having this standalone 5G T-Priority helps to reduce that, so that way now first responders are no longer having a battle with that. Battle with basically the general public for a slice of that 4G, 5G band from another provider. Within this, it breaks down your current Verizon bill, what each device currently is paying. And then it gives you the breakdown of the two different plans from T-Mobile for their T-Priority Ultimate and their T-Priority Advance. Looking at that, the only difference between T-Priority Ultimate and T-Priority Advance is the fact that T-Priority Ultimate allows you unlimited mobile hotspot data on a cellular phone, that kind of thing. That's something that our people just don't use. We don't need for it. So the T-Priority Advance would be more than sufficient for all of our devices. Built into this, it also has that redundancy factor. That's something that we talked about heavily when we talked about switching over from Comcast to Surf Wireless, building in that redundancy. Big reason why redundancy needs to happen, for example, back when the ratio went through in July of last year, knocked out a large portion of Comcast to town, including this entire complex. Knocked out everything from internet, all your capabilities that rely on an internet feed were gone for several days. There was no way to repair it quickly, unfortunately, and there was no redundant failover, so that way systems can keep operating. Right now, a lot more stuff in the city is relying on internet service. So again, our new phone system that we have, it's all internet VoIP based. Never was before, but now it is. So that requires data service. If for some reason, again, service went out on Comcast, or even if, tonight if you vote to switch to Surf Wireless, if that went out, having a redundant failover that could easily pick right back up and everything would stay operational. There would be no downtime, no disruption in service, that kind of thing. So that's why it's critical now more than ever to have those redundancies in place. This, for T-Mobile, that redundancy is built in via wireless routers, basically, backup routers. There would be one installed for the police department side of the building, one for the city hall side of the building, and also one installed down near the Public Works water and sewer plant down there. Because a lot of their systems also rely on data internet service. So if something happens, something goes off down there, now their plant can no longer send alarms and signals, hey, this is something going wrong, or whatever the case. With having this redundant failover, that's going to be able to continue sending those signals, those critical messages if needed. So that is built into the pricing that's on that breakdown there. Like I said, we've done a lot of testing. For example, we got 2 demo SIM cards from T-Mobile. I took them into 2 SWAT cars, swapped out the Verizon card for the T-Mobile card, and didn't tell the officers that I did it. I told them, hey, look, I did something to your SWAT, your computer, your router, let me know if you notice the difference. I can tell you what, just let me know. The feedback that we received from them has been outstanding. The speed, the quickness, the reliability and everything, the proof is in the pudding. Also being able to look at the device cellular health, which I can do. From the moment that I swapped out those SIM cards, it went from the red, the orange, and all that kind of stuff, green. And it's been staying steady ever since. We know that there's a lot of dead zones with Verizon in town. With this, with those two demo SIM cards we've had, those dead zones haven't existed. So being able to, again, demo these things, you know, test them out, do the speed testing on all of them, you know, I think it speaks for itself. So, I went over this with Chief Allen, reviewed it. Like I said, the majority of the cellular bill is the police department side of it because of those things. But, like I said, this will definitely increase the service that our officers are able to use, for cellular, and also help financially by either bringing down the cost, with the devices, or basically being a wash if we decide to go and add a few more of that kind of thing. So you're gonna be getting still better service, for that price, so.
Alright. Thank you for putting a lot of time into such an exciting topic.
So I think the next board meeting, we'll have an ordinance that Josh's presentation is only have to be 5 minutes.
And then there's public comment.
Josh has done a great job.
Great job.
Awesome job.
He started this months ago, long before I got here. I appreciate the detail he puts into stuff like this.
Yeah, it was really.
He wears a lot of hats, and he's a really smart guy, and he does things very thorough. I think a little bit of cost savings is key to talk about, to highlight, added efficiency for our officers, and then the key piece to me is the priority. I work a lot of large events, both natural disasters and large international conventions, with hundreds of thousands of people's conversion to one community where cell service is a hot commodity. And they've had to bring in remote trailers and otherwise to make it happen well ahead of time. We're struck with a natural disaster here in Braidwood. T-Mobile is the only provider that's going to be able to support all functions of this city immediately. We are so reliant on computers now and cell service. If we stick with Verizon, we're not going to have that support like we were going to have with T-Mobile. We were switching over in Shorewood when I left. It's a big move. T-Mobile has stepped their game up, and for law enforcement, first responders, like no other provider out there. So I think it's important that we make this switch. And thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you. Any comments? Other discussion? Alright. Appreciate the time you put into that. Okay, that's the end of our discussions for our community of a whole. We put public comment toward the end, that way we can address some kind of public comment at this meeting, so if anybody has anything to say, obviously you just come up to the mic, introduce yourself, and your max time is 3 minutes. We're already at 7:15, so we have another meeting we have to, after this meeting. So, public comment.
Alright, so, Bob your own. You guys wanna keep talking about this 1%. I agree with him. I live here. You wanna keep, when you guys keep referring to people coming off the highway, what is there to go right or left into our town? You have the gas stations, you have restaurants, everything to the left, going to the west. So, if you wanna penalize the citizens of this city, give them the break, or don't. You're just going to hurt us. It's $2,000 a year for a normal family. That's $2,000 out of your pocket, I guess. But it's no big deal for us. When you look at a family, normal paying family, $800 to $900 a month. Do the math.
It's $9. 1% is $9.
Not it is. $800, $900.
1% of $800 is
So what
$8.
percent? What is a $240, $180 home product? What's the 2% that you guys are offering back? What does that come up to?
I don't think we're offering that.
Yeah, you did. You did.
No, we had mentioned it.
Oh, we
Just
mentioned it.
mentioned it as an option.
Oh, I see, okay. All right. Nice one. What's 2% of, what did you say?
$180 product.
$18.
You're gonna get $18. So you're saying that.
$3.60. Engineering's a math major, so.
I hope so for $12,000 a month bill. So.
Do what you pay for.
Do you?
You do.
Same thing with the.
Alright, let's go.
No, wait, I
We
thought
only
we
have
all
3 minutes.
You got 3 minutes.
I'm not done. You're interrupting. So, your view of this town, are you building it, or you're just trying to destroy it? Do you wanna support the businesses here? Do you wanna support and try to make a livable city for people to be afford? Or do you wanna just keep raising taxes? 'Cause every time I come here, it's ordinances or taxes. That's all you guys know how to say. It's all that comes out of your mouth. You wanna know why we keep bringing ordinance every single meeting? Because right after you said, oh, all we're doing is talking about ordinances. Not shortly after that, you wanted to bring up an ordinance about e-scooters. Go back on the fifth if you can't remember.
Hi, I'm Sue Cholick, and I live in the city of Braidwood, and I wanted to make comments about the procurement. Before I make my comment, I just wanted to let people know that my professional background used to be in procurement. I, at one time was a buyer for 9 years, and then after that I spent 15 years as a business systems analyst responsible for the procurement, accounts payable, and inventory modules of a system that I worked on. So in regards to building out the procedures and policies that the city's gonna be working on, I would like to see that we have a separation of duties between the person who cuts the purchase order, the person who receives the goods, and the person who pays the bills. That should be 3 separate people. In order to ensure the integrity of the general ledger, it's important that we keep those separations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Cindy, 137 North Division Street. These meetings are very informative. The city hall meetings are very informative. But whatever happened to the town hall meetings, where the citizens of the town could ask questions when somebody came in to present something? Right now, we don't have a voice at any meeting, other than to state something without getting a reply. I would just like to see the town hall meetings come back. Thank you.
Okay, this is Ron Wilczek from Braidwood. Is this the quick part at the end of the first session before we go into the council meeting? All right. First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you. I know you're working hard, and it's really showing that we're learning more from Steve on previous communities and other things, and I'd like to see you all work together carefully, because we're all in this together, and we all want us to. So I appreciate all the work that everybody's doing. I think you might want to listen for suggestions from the community, like we're doing here. Maybe some options to hear, or ways, techniques you could do that is, maybe between the 2 different meetings as a whole, on the other meeting, you have a session prior where it's an interactive discussion, because you might get more ideas from the people that are out there, because I have some ideas right now. I really appreciated all this discussion, but I would love to be able to interject some ideas, and I'll mention them to you right now. First of all, the contractor license thing. Very good, it's the way it's developed, but there still might be a little loophole. What about the guys that are just work handyman workouts? They might come and fix something in your house. We should have a little caveat for that. We should say maybe it's a dollar amount. If it's only a small amount, they're coming in your house and you approve it. Hey, let's allow that. Maybe another option is get an approval. If you want to be a handyman or anything else that's maybe would fall into it generally, but you would like an exception, have an approval process. You call the office and you get an approval from 2 people, mayor and somebody else or whatever. Other options. So these are kinds of things that you can discuss and get better, more refined. You're doing a good job. You're getting the detail out there. That's really good. But that's just an option for that. The other thing was the tax. Okay. I think it would be a good idea to give a discount to people in Braidwood, but it also would be a good idea to support the park district, and I like both of those ideas. The first thing is, do we have a fine amount that we're getting for the grocery tax so that we know what we're gonna be able to allocate. Second of all is, I suggest we pass the grocery tax as an increase on a yearly basis. That way we can review where we stand on the budget and on the income. As an example, we're gonna be getting money from Masterdonis, we're gonna be getting money from the 2 car dealers, we got a current surplus in the budget, so if we can give a break to the current residents and still support the park district with the amount we're talking about, that's a win for everybody. So, let's look for other ideas here and try to develop these things. The current one, it's just, if it's already in the budget, pass it for this year, but have it come up every year for renewal. And then that way you'll know. You say, hey, I got plenty of funds here, I can allocate this to that, and I don't need to do that this year. And that would be a nice benefit too. And it would also be a health competition to Jewel. Hey, if I can get a little 1% less at Burkhoff's versus Jewel, maybe I'll do more over there. So, there's ideas here. Good job, everybody. Please listen for the ideas and come up with a way to get these ideas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Janine Morgan, 495 West 6th Street. I'm sorry if I talk with the list. These are new. I just want to say regarding the 1% grocery tax, for instance, let's say you spend $200 a week in groceries. 1% is $2. Are you not willing to give $2 a week to support our parks? These parks are for our families, places for our kids. Over time, I've heard so many complain that we don't have enough for the kids in this area, and now people are complaining about $2 to help provide for these families, kids, and community. They'll never understand why this is an argument. We are all here as a community, and we should all be supporting this community. Thank you.
I really didn't say nothing about the grocery tax, but if anybody's done their work, like not saying I like Steve, I do like him, but he's not doing his job. I've talked to Coal City, they say approximately 60 to 80,000 they're bringing in for grocery tax. You're talking 250,000, that means every single day we're spending $70,000 in groceries in Braidwood. Can anybody here tell me you think that Burkhoff's takes in 70,000 a day? No. And yes, we do, in the budget, there was $150,000 to help the park, and with the Oswald grant, we could have matched it at 300. So, I'll get into the other stuff on the next one, but there's money all over the place. And I'll cover the rest on our regular meeting.
Anyone else? Okay. We'll close public comment. Executive session, we have a motion, do we need for executive session? Okay. Next committee, the whole meeting will be Tuesday, October 14th at 6:30. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Commissioner Weeding,
Yes.
Commissioner Michael,
Yes.
Commissioner Dixon,
Yes.
Commissioner Walsh,
Yes.